How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in once again. I am your co-beat reporter. Looking forward to another week of Chiefs football as they host the Baltimore Ravens in Week 4, a game that has been talked about and is being hyped since the conclusion of Week 3. Both teams approach this game with a 1-3 record. 1-2 record. One of these teams will fall to 1-3. One will improve to 2-2. If you remember me saying in a most recent previous podcast, the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe this is a must win for them. And a way that they can do that is that they have to have an explosive offense. Now, I say explosive because thus far that we've seen into the season, Patrick Mahomes has kind of had to do a whole lot of the heavy lifting to get this Chiefs offense going. They lost the first 2 weeks in kind of uncompetitive fashion, at least in like the offensive category. And I say uncompetitive, I guess they did score close to 20 points, but there has yet to be a real blowout for Kansas City with the players that they have. If you take Week 3 with a grain of salt, that's 22-9 victory. That is impressive. However, it is against a team that isn't likely to make the playoffs this season. The Ravens were highly talked about going into this season as being a potential to crack a playoff spot again and be a real threat in the AFC. The Chiefs are coming off of their third straight Super Bowl appearance, and they themselves since then have been already known to be AFC threats. But if the Chiefs can't defeat Baltimore, it just kind of shows them maybe they're just not that good anymore. But that is retrospect and hindsight. That's future talk of negative. We have to think about the way that they can defeat the Kansas City Chiefs can defeat the Baltimore Ravens. And the way that you do that is on offense, primarily the run game. Hear me out. I know the run game has been very bad for the Chiefs this year. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they've been slow out of the gates. Patrick Mahomes still leads the rushing unit in total yardage. He's been their backbone, to say the least, in itself. The rushing unit of Isaiah Pacheco, that is, has 92 rushing yards and 25 carries. Kareem Hunt has 81 and 23 carries, and Patrick Mahomes has 18 carries that have gone for 125 rushing yards. But this could be a game. We saw a better game on the rushing attack against the Giants. But going into this game, according to Pro Football Focus, the Baltimore Ravens, their run defense thus far this year is the worst of the National Football League at an overall grade of a 41.8. While the Chiefs, their run blocking grade is not terrific. They rank 29th. However, I like those odds. Baltimore hasn't been able to stop the run game. It might be a stretch, especially given how the way that the Chiefs have played thus far in the run game. But I do think that it is a area to kind of look at and look upon. The Chiefs in itself, as a franchise, primarily because of Patrick Mahomes, their run game is ranked 8th according to Pro Football Focus with a 75.3. If you take Patrick Mahomes out of that, it greatly falls apart. But I do think that there is a world where if this is the week to kind of get things going, they know what's on the line. It's either they're going to fall into a ditch that they're going to have to crawl themselves out of, trying to compete in a very competitive AFC West with the likes of the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos, or they could use their running game, something that has been so lackluster, have it dominate this game, help it lead them to victory, silence the doubters of them, the franchise in itself, as well as the run game. And I'll be the first to tell you, and I'm not trying to be straightforward. I'm trying to be straightforward with you guys. Is that the Chiefs in their running game this season, and especially last year, I'm still not a fan. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, they're both on one-year deals. They're both in a position to really have to kind of prove themselves in order to kind of get a contract next season. But so far, we haven't seen a whole lot. If Patrick Mahomes has to have the mentality going into this game, feeling like he has to do everything again, like we've seen through the beginning portion of the season, especially against the Eagles and the Chargers, then I think that Kansas City could be in some trouble. Baltimore has an explosive offense. They can attack you with Derrick Henry in the running game. They have Lamar Jackson, who has got a solid arm, and he's going to find several of his wide receivers. Patrick Mahomes has notoriously played very well against the Ravens. But with the way that this roster construct is right now for the Kansas City Chiefs, you're getting a Xavier Worthy back who could potentially have some setback because of him having an injury. You also have Hollywood Brown, who has a lot of targets and not too many receptions for the amount of times he's been targeted. Too many drops, and I guess that necessarily isn't his fault if the defenders are all over him. Travis Kelce hasn't necessarily been the Travis Kelce that the Chiefs would have hoped for. There's a lot of pieces and players that you need to have match the game on offense of Baltimore in order for you to win. And I think a way of doing that is really establishing the run game. I know thus far it hasn't been successful. I know that there has been a lot of doubt and question of whether the Chiefs need to go out and add another running back, whether that be a trade or they start giving some trust to Brashard Smith and give him those examples. I doubt that happens. But I mean, if this running game continues to struggle, it could be something that they have to pivot to. All in all, Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, the eyes are on them, man. I think that they have to know, going into this game, the Chiefs as an organization, that Baltimore is not very good at defending the run. And you haven't been very successful at the run. This is kind of a match made in heaven right now. It's either going to show who's better, a defense run blocking, or is it the Chiefs' fault for having non-explosive running backs? That's kind of a story that we have to watch for this game. Patrick Mahomes, he's going to carry the football. You have to watch the other running backs and hope that they can capitalize on a badly rated running defense. With that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, as always, you should follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. I post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage of Week 4 and the remainder of the regular season. You should also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI. Everything gets posted there, exclusively free for you. Analysis, articles, podcasts, columns, opinions, all for you. Kansas City Chiefs on SI is a place to get your Kansas City Chiefs news. As always, Chiefs Kingdom, be kind to one another. And I will see you tomorrow